going through 4 years ago. But, one of the things off the bat, KT, and you were the deputy national security advisor, Trump was tough on Russia and China. And how do you think those countries are now looking at this Biden administration?
Oh, Sean, they've got the champagne and they're cracking it out the bottle. Why? Because they know that Joe Biden is going to be soft on China and he's not going to be tough on Russia. And because he's never been tough on those countries throughout his entire career. I mean, he's always been soft on China. And when he could have stood up to China 10, 20 years ago and made them call them to account to have equal investment, equal trade agreements, he never did. He just let them get away with all the things that they've done in the last 20 years, now to the point where China feels it's in a position to replace the United States within a few years. And they think the Biden administration is going to help them do it.
KT, Sean mentioned this in the open, but Joe Biden is seeking to revive the 2015 Iran nuclear deal. I mean, how much does this concern you, especially considering that last week Iran announced that they were going to step towards producing uranium metals, which is a direct violation of the 2015 agreement?
Yeah. And here's what Iran's doing. I mean, they don't want a war. They don't want problems, but they want to be in a better position to negotiate with a new Biden administration because they think the Biden administration is going to give them back whatever they wanted. They'll give them an economic lifesaver. They'll help their economy, and they're going to let Iran make nuclear weapons. The irony of all this is that the Iran nuclear deal that was signed in the Obama and Biden administration, it was never about stopping, halting, eliminating Iran's nuclear program. It was always just a little bit of a delay. Well, right now, if they went back into the terms of the Iran nuclear deal, Iran would have nuclear weapons within the decade, and that will launch a nuclear arms race in the Middle East.
I think they just want more pallets of cash sent over. And they think, hey, if we get back in the agreement, we might get it. I'm serious. I think they were like, hey, this is a great deal before. You said it's a boatload of cash, literally. And then we just flaunted the whole agreement, did what we wanted to do. KT, one of the things that I think is an untold success story of the Trump foreign policy is peace in the Middle East and the strides and progress that has been made. What do you think that looks like under Biden, and where does it go?
Well, I think actually it's one of the few things that even the Biden administration won't be able to screw up. The peace agreement between Israel and the Arab countries, part of that was based on their mutual worry and concern and hatred, really, of Iran and Iran's activities in the region. And in the Middle East, there's a saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And President Trump understood that. And that's why he was able to craft an Arab-Israeli peace agreement. And if the Biden administration goes back to where the Obama administration was, anti-Israel, anti-Arab, pro-Iran, I think it just pushes Israel and the Arab countries into each other's arms even more fiercely and more obligingly, so that the economic prosperity that those two areas will enjoy will far outstrip anything even the Biden administration plans to do with cartloads of cash.
KT, just going to go around the globe with you here and get your take on everything. Under Biden, what does the United Kingdom look like in Boris Johnson post-Brexit?
Well, actually, that's a really important, and it's a good question to ask, because if Trump had remained in the White House, there would have been a U.S.-UK trade deal really within a couple of weeks. And what that would have done was it'd be a huge boost to the British economy, to the American economy, particularly as we're all coming out of the pandemic. Now, I really don't know. Will the Biden administration continue to what the Trump administration was working towards, which was a U.S.-UK trade deal, or will they pull back and say, no, we're interested in some kind of a European deal, which will never happen? So that would be a real missed opportunity if the United States and the United Kingdom do not have an immediate trade agreement, which would be terrific for both of our countries, particularly now.
Yeah, real quick, KT, just a few seconds left. No. But you did mention Middle East and the UK. What is one or two other areas that we need to keep an eye on in terms of where Biden goes?
It's all about China. Sean, it's all about China. I mean, will Biden continue will he go in the beta dog position, or will he continue to kowtow to China? China has every intention of stealing our technology, buying our technology, replacing the United States within 5 years as the leading military, economic, political, technological superpower, and then rewriting the rules of order of the world at our expense.
Okay, I do want to go down to the border real quick before we let you go and get your take on what we're seeing right now with this this caravan of migrants that have come from Honduras. You know, they are coming because of the rhetoric that we saw from Biden in the campaign. And what is Biden going to do when all these people are up against the fence? His, people have said from his campaign that they're not letting them in yet.
Yeah, and this will be their first foreign policy crisis, and they're going to have it within about a month. And that's that migrant caravan that's going from Central America through Mexico on up to the Mexican border. Now, is Joe Biden going to be smart and keep what Trump had, or is he somehow going to let them all in and then have another bit of economic dislocation, particularly in the American Southwest?
KT, it's so good to have you. Thanks for your insight. We'll have to have you back and see how all this unfolds.
Thank you very much, both of you. Thank you.
All right. Well, coming up, thousands of National Guard troops descend on D.C. ahead of Biden's inauguration. Up next, a former Secret Service agent will give us an inside look at security measures being taken to prevent a repeat of the attacks on the Capitol. Next.
What a waste. Americans chip away at over $21 billion a year by overpaying on car insurance. Go to the Zebra first.
A car insurance ad?
Again?
No, the Zebra compares car and home insurance to help save you money. See what you could save at thezebra.com.
Do you feel like the way you clean your ears at home doesn't work well enough? I felt the same way. But then I tried the WaxRx ear wash system. WaxRx was designed by a doctor, and it's the same system used in medical clinics. The reusable WaxRx system has everything you need to effectively remove earwax at home without the inconvenience of a doctor's visit. You should use the doctor-trusted WaxRx ear wash system. You can get it now at Walgreens and Walmart today.
My mom was the most amazing person in my life.
I would definitely consider my mom as a hero.
I love and miss my mom very much.
The worst day of my life was the day that my mother was murdered on July 5th, 2017. That same night in the hospital, when my brother and sister asked me who was going to take care of them after I had to break the horribly tragic news that our mother had been murdered, I said, I will take care of you.
There are over 1,000 families that need our help. Talented Towers is honoring those heroes that risk their lives by providing them with mortgage-free homes.
First responders are human too. They have fears and families that they need to come home to. For just $11 a month, you can give back to these heroes who gave up so much for you and ensure that their families will always have a home.
Please donate $11 a month by visiting tunneltotowers.org or calling 1-844-BRAVEST. Thank you.
The bladder control aisle. You won't shop here again. Your private business is your own. The constant struggle is over. Now there's a better way. It's HDIS. We home deliver bladder control products. We understand how you feel. For over 25 years, we've home delivered to many of the 20 million Americans who deal with incontinence. We offer all brands. We pay shipping and use plain, unmarked boxes. If we can help you or someone you care for, call for your free product sample pack and $45 in money-saving coupons. Our counselors will help you choose the right product. And unlike stores, we're always in stock. You'll get what you need. Satisfaction guaranteed. HDIS, the better way.
For your free sample pack with your free catalog, $45 in money-saving coupons, and free product samples, call 1-800-914-1527. 1-800-914-1527.
Tensions are very high in the nation's capital after those riots on January 6th that took place in the Capitol. Thousands of National Guard troops have descended on our nation's capital to prevent violence surrounding Biden's inauguration. But if you're Congressman Steve Cohen, a Democrat from Tennessee, having, quote, conservative troops on the ground makes him more concerned than anything else. Take a listen to this.
about 20% of white males voted for Biden. You got to figure that in the Guard, which is predominantly more conservative, and I see that on my social media, and we know it, they're probably not more than 25% of the people that are there protecting us who voted for Biden. The other 75% are in the class that would be the large class of folks who might want to do something.
That is actually a pretty disturbing thought from a member of Congress, that if you didn't vote for him, you're not going to do anything about him. Members of the military pledge an oath to the Constitution, not to a party, to a candidate. And I think the idea of a member of Congress saying that is really disturbing. Joining us now is former Secret Service agent Tom Bolsch. Tom, you saw that comment there by Democrat Congressman Steve Cohen of Tennessee, concerns that he has regarding the political affiliation and I think, frankly, the integrity and patriotism of these National Guard troops. As a former Secret Service agent, is this something that you would be concerned about?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Sean, I heard that too, and I thought it was appalling as well. These men and women of our military, they take an oath to defend the Constitution, and that includes their commander-in-chief, no matter who that commander-in-chief is. So those comments just were unnecessary. The Secret Service takes a very proactive stance when it comes to vetting everyone who is part of the security team. That includes our military. That includes the National Guard, of course. That includes all our law enforcement partners. So everyone gets vetted at a different level depending on the proximity to the protectees. So that was uncalled for, those comments.
Yeah. You know, Tom, there's been a lot of speculation and second guessing about the security breach at the Capitol on January 6th, people claiming that all the signs were there. Do you feel like this is a fair criticism, considering there has been hundreds of Trump rallies that we saw no violence at?
Yeah, I'm not privileged to up-to-date information on intelligence, obviously, but from what's coming out now is they knew, Capitol Police knew, DC Police knew that there was going to be some type of breach or some type of attempt to get inside the Capitol. I don't know why their perimeter was not stronger. I don't know why they didn't have the assets they would need to fend off. But it was a complete failure on the security end of it to let this happen, and it was appalling.
Tom, you know, Lindsay and I have posted stuff on social media. Literally, downtown DC looks like a war zone. You can't get anywhere near it. There are troops and police officers at every corner. There's checkpoints. I think DC is pretty fortified, but there's a lot of concern for so-called soft targets outside of the Capitol area. So what should people be paying attention to?
No, absolutely. And that's the Secret Service strategy. Make our target hard so people look elsewhere. Unfortunately, if we're gobbling up all the assets around the Capitol and using all these troops and all this law enforcement, if there truly is going to be a threat, will they really attempt to go there, or will they look for a softer target? There's a lot of chatter about the state capitals, that people are going to go to the state capitals and do some rioting there. Let's hope that's not true, and let's also hope that they have adequate resources there available, and that everybody's not in D.C. on this little area that we're trying to protect here. I mean, in the scheme of things, it's a large area, but with no public going to this event, it's really a much more condensed area that the Secret Service has to protect with their partners. So I just hope they're not leaving themselves up vulnerable in other areas of DC or in other states where these protests are scheduled.
If somebody is in downtown DC this week or a state capitol and they see something suspicious, what do you suggest that they do? Who should they connect with, or who should they tell?
Yeah, well, it won't be hard to find a police officer or anybody working security. So definitely talk about it. Definitely bring it up to somebody at the checkpoints, because there's plenty of checkpoints. Call the numbers that they're posting all over DC. I know they are. The old favorite call 911. You could do that as well. But definitely say something to somebody, because if something doesn't look right, it's better to be maybe a false alarm than let it go and something actually does happen. There's a lot of chatter about pipe bombs and all this other stuff that's going to go on. So anybody who sees a suspicious package, let somebody know. Anybody sees somebody acting out out of character or looks like they're going to make a threat, obviously we need to let somebody know quickly so they can defuse it immediately.
Yeah, and we hope and pray that that's the case, because we don't need any more violence and destruction in this country right now. Tom, I want to thank you for joining us and sharing your vast knowledge with us. And I also want to thank you for your service to the country in the Secret Service. I appreciate it. The sacrifice you guys make is so enormous and never gets the thanks and gratitude it deserves.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on.
All right, you bet. As we honor Martin Luther King Jr. today, we're going to take a look at how some of President Trump's policies have really helped the African community. We'll talk about that next with our company.
Take a quick look in the mirror. See those bags under your eyes? You can simply get rid of them with Genucel. You can now look 10 years younger in just 10 minutes. Introducing the new Genucel serum with plant stem cell technology from Chamonix.
Genucel, I could see changes that were remarkable in less than a few minutes.
With just one application of Genucel, you can see for yourself the astonishing transformation in just minutes. Look at the difference it makes.
Chamonix started making antioxidant skincare 18 years ago. We do use the magical ingredients from earth rock for the instant effects, but without the embarrassing white film or the dryings. And that is what makes us industry leaders.
Genucel targets under eye bags, dark circles, and even lifts droopy eyelids. The Genucel secret is plant-based stem cells that quickly diminish the appearance of dark bags and puffiness. The result? You'll see a noticeable difference and look years younger in minutes.
A lot of other products leave residue. They start cracking. Genucel doesn't leave any residue, and it really makes your skin feel very smooth and soft.
And now Chamonix introduces their brand new Zotique Deep Correcting Serum.
The purest vitamin C serum on the market today, with lactic acid to smooth and firm your skin.
Oh yeah. But that kid was kind of nervous to fucking jump on that mic. He was like, "You want to fucking start it?" So I fucking started it. That dude, that bike was one hit, like from cold. I'll give you one too. I love that fucking bike. I was just a hammer. Jared's telling me about his bike. Oops. You can't swear all the time, man. Not all the time. I try and hold it back a little bit. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So this kid, like the part of the UP that dips into Wisconsin. Yeah. He lived like on the border, like going towards Green Bay. I think it's further up from that. Because Green Bay is right. Well, Green Bay is that whole big bay. I guess you're right. But it's like the mouth of Green Bay. Right on. We're talking about four-wheelers and... So he's like, I'll drive to Ignis if you want to meet there, and that's only like 2 hours from where I am. So it's like, yeah, that's cool. So me and Brandon went, but we met at the McDonald's. And he was like, "No, man, it's McDonald's." He told me, he's like, "Yeah, it's like my second bike," and I'm like, for a 2000, this thing's got like amazing power. Like I would not adjust anything on it because it's perfect. Yeah. So I kicked it over and I went around the front of the store and I came back towards the trucks. He was like, well, I think for a sprint, I'm like, yeah, go. I really liked riding your bike. You told me not to really get up on it or anything, but then when I hopped it up, that driveway comes out of the field and then it goes down. Yeah. I went down the road. Yeah. And I turned around at Kentucky and I came back. Yeah. And I was ripping pretty good. Oh, yeah. It's pretty fun. That's because I just broke it in. I bought that bike with the brand new top on. Oh, yeah. So I had to break it in. Oh, yeah. We're talking about motorcycles, dirt bikes, and four-wheelers and stuff. It could be the left messing with us or whatever, but I did get a message talking about how Trump might be delivering some sort of message on Newsmax at 9 o'clock, and it's been 45 minutes, and who knows. So let's go back to them. Let's see what they're talking about here.
Left have baselessly called President Trump a racist. Dr. King's niece, Alveda King, on numerous occasions, Sean, has spoken about Trump's commitment for the same principles. Take a listen.
They asked this man when he was a candidate, what are you going to do about racism?
He said, we're Americans. We all believe the same. We need for people to be safe, secure, blessed, working if they need to. And so I just want to say thank you. You keep your promises. So keep going, sir.
Resounding applause there, Sean. Joining us to talk about how Trump's policies have helped minority communities is Trump 2020 campaign senior advisor Jason Miller and CEO of the National Diversity Coalition for Trump and the author of Nothing to Lose, Pastor Daryl Scott. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Good to have you.
Thank you. Good evening.
All right, well, Pastor Scott, I'm going to start with you. What would you say was the top thing that Trump did to help advance causes for the African-American community?
Phew, there was just so much. President Trump was the first president that I'm aware of, once again, that was proactive, not reactive to the needs of the African-American community. And I had the privilege of working very closely with him in regards to urban policies. And there was absolutely nothing that we presented to him that he turned down. I mean, we have an entire litany of accomplishments and initiatives that he engaged in: criminal justice reform, prison reform, opportunity zones. Those were just to name a few. He did historic levels of funding for HBCUs. There's just so much that he did that the effects, the repercussions, will be felt generationally in the African-American community because of the things that he's done. Just the funding for the HBCUs alone will empower and enable an entire generation of Black college students to get an education. Then we're talking about, once again, criminal justice reform, prison reform, the opportunity zones. These were all things that he did, not reactively, but proactively to benefit the African-American community.
I like how you say that, proactively. Jason, what would you say?
Yeah, I think Pastor Scott hit a lot of these points. And one of the other interesting things is I think so often in politics, and not just with Republicans, but Democrats also, when they speak to the African-American community, it's very much in what, look, it's a little bit of white splaining. Here's what, as white leaders, we think that African-Americans would be interested in hearing. But here's the thing that set President Trump apart. He would talk about issues that weren't on anybody's radar screen. So, for example, when we talk about ending the endless wars, Iraq, Afghanistan, who does that impact the most? It disproportionately impacts whether it be folks in the African-American community that come from poor backgrounds or white community, rural areas that come from poor backgrounds. And so this is an issue that no other politician, Republican or Democrat, would ever dive into. But when President Trump would pick issues like this, and part of the reason I bring this up is when we were talking about the president's second term agenda and we pulled it back over the summer, ending endless wars was far and away the #1 issue for the president's second term that African-American voters were into. And I thought that was fascinating.
Pastor Scott, Trump often gets branded as a racist by the left and many folks in the media. But interestingly, I mean, you just listed all of these things that he has done. Do you think that when you talk to folks in the African-American community that you work with, that it is appreciated and recognized, or is it they don't buy it? I mean, it's interesting because he did all of those things. And the question is it recognized, and does that change the image of him?
It is recognized. He had, we did historic low levels of unemployment for African-Americans. And the thing is, every 4 years, the Republican Party would come along and try to play the game of pin the racists on the Republican. And the fact that they couldn't keep that issue in front of President Trump, and he would continue to try to explain and defend and defend and explain and explain and defend. If someone asked me, if someone accused me and said, you don't like white people, I put myself in this situation. I said, if they asked me, was I racist against white people, how would I react? How would I respond? I would deny it, and then I would move on. And I would actually get irritated if it kept coming back up. And then he set out to prove his skeptics wrong or his critics wrong through the actions that he engaged in. And as a result, it showed up in the polls. He got voting numbers from the African-American community, especially here in 2020, that no other Republican candidate has seen in a generation. I mean, I think it was 24% of African-American men supported him and 18% of African-Americans overall. So,
Yeah.
you know, they're not going for that.
You know, Pastor Scott, you mentioned those numbers, but Jason, you know, a lot of Republicans and operatives dismissed Trump's effort to reach out to the Black voter, saying that it wouldn't pay off in the end. You know, do you think that how is this going to affect down ballot Republican candidates in the future?
Well, and this is an important reason why President Trump needs to remain the leader of the Republican Party, why we have to have him stay plugged in, because right now, these voters that voted for President Trump, they're connected with the president. It's not a complete shift over to the Republican Party. And I'm going to tell you why. I think because when we talk about the issues that are important, President Trump as an individual gave so many Black voters hope. Not when I say hope, not like in the bumper sticker, the slogan way, as we've seen from previous presidents, but the feeling that, you know what, no matter what society tells me, no matter what the media tells me, no matter what anyone discriminatory might tell me, I know what I can achieve. I know what I can do for myself. Look at how President Trump sticks it to them, and he doesn't let them keep him down. So many folks I talk to in the Black community say, you know what, I like that. He doesn't care. These idiots try to tell him, go play in your lane. You're not allowed to go and do this. And Trump says, you know what, I'm going to stand up and fight. And people like that. That's why. So right now, it's attached specifically to the president. We need to do it overall with Republicans, but I think we need another term of President Trump, maybe starting after 2024, to come back and let's grow those numbers even higher.
Exactly. Pastor Scott, I just have a few seconds left, but I want to, you know, Martin Luther King had this really great saying. He said, I have a dream that my little children will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And it seems like today people want to focus more on the color than the character now. How do we solve that and get back to what he was talking about?
Well, once again, when you say people, Sean, I take you to task a little bit and say the Democrats. That's the Democratic Party line. You know, immediately after the doggone Capitol riots, Joe and Kamala played the race card. Oh, if they were Black, this would have been different if they were Black. They're playing that race card, but that race card is getting about as worn out as a deck of cards in the penitentiary because people are seeing through that nonsense. And, you know, we do want to be judged by the content of our character, not the color of our skin. And that's for every person. And so we're going to get past this racial narrative. The Democrat Party has demonstrated that they are the party of race and racism, not the Republican Party. And the messaging, if the messaging is a little more clear, as Jason brought out, I think we can get past that.
I hope we do. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here with us on this day as we celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Hope to have you back soon. All right, Sean and I will be right back. Don't go away.
Closed captioning brought to you by Super Beets, a superfood breakthrough for blood pressure support.
The makers of top-selling Super Beets comes new Super Beets Heart Chews. Do something good for your blood pressure and your energy. Love your results or your money back.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. I guarantee you they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
I do not like my sheets. I love my Giza Dream Sheets.
Call or go to MyPillow.com right now to take advantage of Mike's limited time offer. Use the promo code on the screen, and when you buy one set of Giza Dream Sheets, Mike will send you another set absolutely free. That's right, buy one set of Giza Dream Sheets and get another set absolutely free. Choose from a variety of colors in solid, stripes, and new flannel sheets. Order now.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was life out.
They're just kids. Hungry, homeless, and vulnerable. Tragically, abused kids often feel safer on the street than they do at home. Right now, that's the most dangerous place of all. Covenant House is rescuing kids, but the need is overwhelming, and no child is ever turned away. Please, call or go online now with your gift of $19 a month to help a homeless child. You'll provide safe shelter, hot meals, and urgent medical care. You'll show our kids how much they're loved.
You want to know that there's somewhere you can go that's safe. So the Covenant House did that for us.
To have an environment, a whole building of people that say, hey, we love you. Hey, you're going to get through this. Hey, we got you.
Please, call now. With your gift of $19 a month, we'll send you this soft blanket to remind you of the comfort and hope you're providing to our kids.
I think about Covenant House every day because without Covenant House, like, where would I be?
Homeless kids are afraid and alone. Don't wait. Your gift is the lifeline a child needs. Please, call or go online to safeplacetosleep.org now. Thank you for saving precious lives.
PCmatic is antivirus software designed to proactively stop advanced computer viruses like ransomware. In September 2020, the federal government issued a patent recognizing PCmatic's superior technology to block ransomware. PCmatic is made in America, including research, development, sales, and support. The other antiviruses are made in foreign countries, some where the ransomware originates. PCmatic blocks annoying and malicious ads for hassle-free web browsing. Most antivirus slows your computer. PCmatic makes it faster. PCmatic protects Windows computers, including XP, Vista, Windows 7, 8, and 10, Windows servers, Macs, MacBooks, and
I realized there's kind of stuff there. Oh my god, this game way back a little bit. Oh, come on. Hold on, I just need it. Oh, you're such
You know, Lindsay,
as I reflected on the legacy of Martin Luther King today, the thing that really stands out to me is how much he accomplished and how much change he inspired in a nonviolent way. And in the last 6 months, we've lost that way of doing things. That it has turned into, the opposite, which is we're going to be really violent, destructive, and riot, and hope that we get people to pay attention. If you think about what Martin Luther King did and preached about, it was affecting change
in nonviolent ways, and he was so effective at it. I hope we can get back to that.
Yeah, I hope that we can as well, Sean. You know, I was listening to one of his speeches this morning where he said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. The time is always right to do what is right. And he chose, he talks about character so much. We talk about that, but violence is not a good sign of good character. And he was willing to fight for what was right, but do it the right way. And that's a beautiful way of what America represents. We have the freedoms to do these things, but without violence.
Yeah. And it's amazing, like I said, that he got all of this done and still preached about this nonviolent way of going about it. Hopefully, people can remember that, yes, you're frustrated. Yes, there's a lot of things that you probably didn't like about what's happened in terms of the election and the outcomes and the other side. But that's not how we solve our difference. We devolve into such a people that we don't want to be if we do this. So anyway, tomorrow, though, we're going to keep this discussion about the inauguration going. We'll talk about Biden and all these policies that are coming up with a lot of great Republican members of Congress and former administration officials.
That's right. And then we're going to have friend of the show, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, with us to break down the media's latest hypocrisy. That's our show.
All right. Thanks for starting your week with us. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you.
CNN throwing stones in a glass house, demanding NewsMax be canceled. Let's check it out. All right, welcome to Rob Schmidt tonight. As our ratings here at Newsmax have exploded, at least one of our competitors, and probably more, would love to cancel us right out of existence. CNN, the network that sold 30 years of broadcast credibility to destroy the Trump presidency, is outraged by Newsmax. Our sin, interviewing members of the Trump legal team after the election and hearing their allegations of election fraud, while the mainstream media demanded that we all accept the Democrat consensus that it was the most fair election in the history of the universe. That's it. And whether the left likes it or not, we do have to say this election was not even remotely fair to incumbent President Donald Trump. Democrats changed some rules for voting with COVID as an excuse. Zuckerberg gave us the ballot drop boxes almost exclusively in liberal areas. And the media and tech companies conspired with the Democrats to heavily promote and protect Joe Biden while continuing their 4 straight years of assaulting and trashing Donald Trump in every possible way. We all know it's true. Even liberals openly admit that Biden got a total pass in this election, almost no scrutiny at all. But CNN, which is clearly moving from left-leaning to radical left authoritarian, now says we must not be allowed to exist any longer. Here's a clip from Brian Stelter's show over the weekend.
And then we're going to have to figure out the OANN and Newsmax problem. You know, that these companies have freedom of speech, but I'm not sure we need Verizon, AT&T, Comcast, and such to be bringing them into tens of millions of homes. This is, allowing people to seek out information if they really want to, but not pushing it into their faces, I think is where we're going to have to go here.
Okay, the one doing the talking there is Alex Stamos. He used to have a big security job at Facebook. Our bookers asked him to come on tonight so I could pick him apart. He never responded. Since last week, Stelter and his left-wing coworker, Oliver Darcy, a former writer for conservative outlet The Blaze, by the way, whose opinions seem to change based on where his paycheck is coming from, have been hounding major cable providers to shut us down. They do it by just pretending that they're simply asking questions, of course. Here's an example, a tweet from Oliver Darcy. Just a reminder that neither Verizon, AT&T, nor Comcast have answered any questions about why they beam channels like OAN and Newsmax into millions of homes. Do they have any second thoughts about distributing these channels given their election denialism content? They won't say. Thanks, Oliver. Not a shocker coming from CNN, though. Shameless in their desires for censorship. They hate the right. They'd love to see us all just disappear. They hate the freedom of speech, clearly, as well. They want liberal ideals to rule this country without any fear of dissent. Sounds amazing, doesn't it? To always get your way. Perhaps they'd be more comfortable headquartered in China. It's a nice fit. Former Bush press secretary Ari Fleischer, one of many to jump to Newsmax's defense after all of this, quote, "You knew it would happen. Someone to take conservative media off the air because they bought into Trump's election theories. On those grounds, shouldn't CNN, ABC, CBS, and NBC be taken off the air because they bought into Russian collusion theories? This censorship must stop." A voice of reason. Of course, Fleischer makes a great point here. Let's check out just some of the more salacious moments. This is what Americans were fed for years by most of the mainstream media. Let's go ahead and start with our good friends over at CNN.
The core question about Paul Manafort is whether he was working for Donald Trump and the American people, or whether he was really working for Vladimir Putin.
Gonna miss the tubes. Should CNN be deplatformed for this? It could be the end for them if they choose to play by Brian Stelter's rules. Here's just another ridiculous moment. This one from Keith Olbermann of ESPN and MSNBC fame. He was once a fantastic, very funny sports anchor, and then politics ruined his entire life and most of his personality.
We are no longer a democracy. We are no longer a free people. We are the victims of a bloodless coup. So far, a bloodless coup engineered by Russia with, at best, the traitorous indifference of the Republican Party and Donald John Trump, a man who, to borrow a phrase from another December long ago, will live in infamy.
It's on GQ. I guess I got to go too. Let's go very mainstream for just a moment. ABC's The View. Joy Behar. Now, nobody takes this woman seriously, but her show gets a lot of attention and replay on other shows because, frankly, there's nothing else on TV at 11 a.m. when most of us are at work.
Do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag?
The hammer and sickle on the American flag. It's a short bite, but she's talking about how When are we going to stop Donald Trump from colluding and stealing this election and destroying the country? Are we going to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag? That was on ABC. That is a ridiculous assault on the president of the United States, completely baseless, as we know now. I hope you guys don't like watching The Bachelor, because we're going to have to cancel ABC too now. So we're going to cancel a lot of channels here. How about Joy Reid and MSNBC?
Are you concerned about Donald Trump's loyalties to, the U.S. versus whatever strange loyalty he seems to have to Mr. Putin?
Had Fang Fang's boyfriend on there as well. Joy Reid and Joy Behar, both very angry left-wing conspiracy theorists. Kind of funny they're both named Joy. They always seem so mad. All right, let's stick with MSNBC and now do Rachel Maddow. Her show gets fantastic ratings. It'll be a shame when providers have to dump the network for promoting Russia collusion for years. Here was the big night when Mueller's report was released, and Rachel was so excited.
The report of Special Counsel Robert Mueller has finally been submitted. We've heard it said so many times that it was imminent, that it was done. Maybe it was already done and we didn't know about it. Finally, it's happened. In terms of what that means and what Mueller found, we know only the smallest little bits. This is the start of something, apparently, not the end of something.
She was so giddy. And yeah, it was the start of something, Rachel. It was the start of a huge disappointment for you and the rest of the limousine liberals that absolutely hate Donald Trump. And finally, to Mr. Stelter himself.
Trump's odd behavior with Vladimir Putin is compelling so many people to ask, what does Putin have on Trump? Has Trump been compromised?
Meddling in those conspiracy theories. Now, to be fair, nobody took Russian collusion further than CNN. It completely overwhelmed their coverage, and they never even had any evidence. They just had Adam Schiff swearing that he had seen the evidence, which, of course, we all later found out was a total lie when Bob Mueller released the big report. Of course, Stelter and Darcy have no memory of any of this, and if you honestly ask them, they still believe Russia collusion is true despite the investigation coming up empty. Most liberals do. It's literally identical to the many Trump voters who still believe the 2020 election was stolen. Russia collusion became amplified to protect the ego of Hillary Clinton. She needed an excuse for losing an election the polls all said she would easily win. The media bought into the collusion narrative because they needed an excuse for how Donald Trump won when they hated him so much, why their polls were so terrible, and how they were so completely out of touch to not see 2016 coming. Everybody needed an excuse. Collusion was the perfect thing. They pushed this story as hard as they could nonstop for years, and in the end, it just wasn't true. The difference here is nobody has called for CNN or other networks to be banished from society for pushing this false story for years. We here at NewsMax don't play the cancel culture game. We're adults over here. We can handle the left without screaming and crying for their cancellation. We're big boys. All right, many are coming to NewsMax's defense. Our friend and former acting director of national intelligence, Rick Grinnell, tweeting out today, Alex Stamos has become what he says he hates. We should never allow people to intellectualize intolerance. And Rick joins us now. Rick, good to see you. How crazy is this getting, in your opinion?
Well, first of all, Rob, let me just say kudos to you. That opening was fantastic. I hope that you put that on YouTube and that everyone has a chance to look at that. That was truly great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I think what you're getting at, that last part where you just say they've been doing this, but they're pointing their fingers at everybody else. Mm-hmm. The hypocrisy angle is really what Republicans are just sick and tired of. I've always talked about it as not really being a fight between Republicans and Democrats. It's the Washington way and the rest of America. Washington just has this thing about being hypocritical on every single issue. And we're seeing the incredible hypocrisy running wild right now. I mean, look no further than the fact that Democrats have been attacking walls for 4 years. And then when suddenly they need protection, what do? They erect a wall around Washington, D.C. immediately. Right. And remember that walls stop the bad people from coming in and allows only the people that are supposed to come in a chance to come in. And that's what we're seeing in Washington. But boy, they don't like the walls for the rest of us.
Yeah, that's true. The stupidometer is really at a high level right now. Everything just seems so ridiculous. Just flipping through the Twitter feed is just a scary thing. You've had to deal with the press, though, quite a bit. What's happening to the media in this country? They've always had this, they've always been liberal. but they're so bold now and they're so unapologetic and they just want to ram it down your throat. What is happening here?
Look, over the last 4 years, let's go back even a little bit further, the last 10 years, we've seen disruptive technology in banking, in sports, a whole bunch of different issues have been completely upended by the use of technology. Journalism went through the same thing. When all of a sudden social media became really important, citizen journalists became just as important as the New York Times reporters. We could challenge them in real time. We could talk about their bias. We could point out the fact that they weren't being fair immediately. I think what we're seeing right now, Rob, is that the technology companies and media together are panicking because they've lost power over the last 5 to 7 years. They want that power back. So what are they going to do? They're going to try to dial back citizen journalists, dial back blogging, dial back individuals from trying to put forward their opinion. And they're going to say that they're doing it to protect the truth because they want to be the only ones who decide what the truth is. This is part of the Washington, D.C. playbook when it comes to intelligence. They spoon feed a little. Adam Schiff pretends like you don't know anything and I have to give you the spin. And so transparency is exactly what we need. More social media is exactly what we need. Freedom is what we need because it creates a better society.
Yeah, and they create this idea. They love to say something's racist. We've got to stop it. Incitement. they say everything's now an incitement. If you exist on the conservative side, you're inciting something. They have these fear tactics to give themselves this pass so that they can do whatever they want, this is not a new idea. This has been used by regimes all through the past, a tactic like that.
Correct. It's incredibly important for conservatives to remember that you are always going to be called a racist, sexist, or homophobe. You better pick one, because that's the one that they're going to use against you constantly. And what you need to be able to do is just push back, talk about your information, put forward what you believe to be right, and ignore all of these people that are constantly going to try to attack you personally because they don't like the message. It's always the attacking of the messenger because they don't like the message.
Sure.
I think that most conservatives, when they point out the hypocrisy of the media, they actually go and they look at the message and they point out where a journalist is being hypocritical. So we try to stick to the substance and not just attack the messenger, but they certainly have thin skin. They don't like it. And they're going to try to dial back that power.
Yeah, and then they're not good at the debate, which is why they got to use these tactics in the first place. They can't just have a civil debate with somebody. They just call names, scream something, and that's it. Before we go, Rick, just want to give you just a little snippet here. The First Lady puts out the farewell message today. Here's just a quick piece.
The past 4 years have been unforgettable. As Donald and I conclude our time in the White House, I think of all of the people I have taken home in my heart and their incredible stories of love, patriotism, and determination.
Just want to ask the real story with Melania Trump, because nobody got a fair look at this woman. She was put in there with Donald Trump. Everybody said she must be awful. They didn't put her on any magazines. Nobody ever interviewed her. What's she really like?
I would say, first of all, she doesn't really care because she's been a superstar, a global superstar already. She doesn't need this. I've gotten to know the First Lady, and she's all in one, charming, smart, witty, quick, and so confident. I think because she's traveled the world and been a real powerhouse and a super successful model, I think that she doesn't really care about the Washington press corps critiquing her Christmas trees. I've talked to her about it, and she had some really funny words for the Washington, D.C. types that were trying to give her fashion advice. So I think she's got a sense of humor about it.
Yeah, but it's funny because these magazines that we talk about are just, nobody's picking up these magazines. Nobody's buying them anymore. She could have sold a lot of magazines if they would have just let her do it, put her on there. She's going to sell them.
Yeah, what's a magazine? Yeah. I think most people are thinking, what is a magazine anymore?
Just something you see at the doctor's office these days. Rick, good to see you. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Take
Rob.
care. All right. All right, coming up, Congress's freshman class entering a D.C. under essentially a military occupation. One could say all the blockades, barriers, checkpoints look a lot like old Berlin or pre-Gorbachev Russia rather than the capital of the free world. Congressman August Pfluger of Texas is going to tell us what it's like to be the new guy in a brand new looking D.C. And later in the show, comedian Adam Carolla on the censorship of his latest film and the death of comedy at the hands of wokeness. Stay tuned.
The land of the free honors the bravest of the brave for their sacred pledge to protect our freedom, our Constitution, and our way of life. We will always remember you. We will always salute you.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language because language isn't just about learning new words. It's about learning a culture, a mindset, and a new point of view. Babbel, language for life. Go to Babbel.com and try it for free today.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. For a limited time, you can get premium MyPillows for the lowest price ever. Regularly $69.98, now only $29.98 with your promo code. That's a $40 savings. 15 years ago, I invented MyPillow. I made sure that you could adjust my patented fill so that you could have the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of your sleep position. I also wanted a pillow that stays healthy, so I made MyPillow machine washable and dryable. I back MyPillow with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. Not only that, I do all my own manufacturing in my home state of Minnesota. I personally guarantee that MyPillow will be the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own.
For a limited time, you can get a premium MyPillow for the lowest price ever. Regularly $69.98, now only $29.98. That's a $40 savings with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
America's under attack, and they're all around us. I'm talking about liberal Democrats, and they're out to destroy everything that we've worked so hard for. Mammoth Nation's here to fight for you. You only get one vote, so let's join forces. We support conservative lawmakers and the causes you hold so dearly. We stand behind our police, veterans, the Second Amendment, and much more. We need your help, so join today.
All right, welcome back. Fences with barbed wire all around the Capitol building, the Washington Monument, many other parts of D.C. 25,000 members of the National Guard from all 50 states are in Washington ahead of Wednesday's inauguration. That comes as the FBI is now vetting all Guard members securing the Capitol. More on that here in just a minute. We are joined now, though, by freshman Congressman August Pfluger from the great state of Texas. Sir, good to see you. A retired lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Air Force, by the way, and thank you for your service. 36 hours until the inauguration. I want to ask, how secure does Washington feel?
Well, I think it's going to be very secure. And first off, would like to say thank you to all the law enforcement, everyone who puts their lives on the line every single day to keep all of our communities safe. And they're certainly doing so now. And, you know, just as you kind of mentioned, the fact that the FBI is vetting the National Guard troops and for Representative Cohen to say that most of these are white males who must have voted for Trump and therefore wouldn't be able to protect an inaugural event is just absolutely ludicrous and so disrespectful to those who have taken the oath.
Let me, you know, we're going to play that right now. Let's go ahead and play this. This is from Steve Cohen. He's a congressman from Tennessee. He's a liberal. Go ahead and take a listen. This is on CNN.
The Guard is 90 some odd percent, I believe, male. Only about 20% of white males voted for Biden. You got to figure that in the Guard, which is predominantly more conservative, and I see that on my social media, and we know it, they're probably not more than 25% of the people that are there protecting us who voted for Biden.
So what do you think he's alleging there? That there's going to be another, there's going to be some kind of a coup against Biden on Wednesday? Is that what he's alleging?
I mean, this is just ludicrous talk. I mean, let's just remember January 20th of 2017, where we had hundreds of violent protesters, leftist, anarchist, and police here in Washington, D.C. did a phenomenal job. Of course, they didn't get any credit for that. And now we have a radical party that is calling for a defunding of the police. They've been doing so for 8 or 9 months, as we've seen cities across the U.S. literally burning with riots. To think that that our National Guard troops would somehow not protect the presidential inauguration is just crazy.
I mean, are they blowing this out of proportion? Are they trying to get as much mileage out of this whole? I mean, they've called this thing everything. It was a white supremacist insurrection at the Capitol. I mean, they want to pound this into the pavement to get political mileage out of it, I assume.
Well, and as we have all done, all Republicans have condemned the violence. There is absolutely no place for that violence and what happened on January 6th. And we are a country of law and orders, but of course they're using it for their political gain. And we need to move forward. It's time to have a peaceful transition of power. That's what's made our country great for the last 244 years.
Absolutely. They're giving the National Guard members a political litmus test, essentially. How irrational is that?
Well, we've seen this in other countries throughout history, and I doubt very seriously if folks like Representative Cohen or others who are calling for this litmus test have read history and just how dangerous this is, that if your views don't ascribe to those who are in power, then you're out. And that is a clear violation of our First Amendment rights and completely disrespectful to those in the uniform.
Absolutely. The acting Secretary of Defense, Chris Miller, tweeted this earlier today. As is normal for military support to large security events, the department will vet National Guardsmen who are in D.C. While we have no intelligence indicating an insider threat, we are leaving no stone unturned in securing the Capitol. Where did the idea of this insider threat come from? Where did the idea come from?
Well, that's a good question. I like the fact that there is no stone unturned. However, you can go a step too far, and it seems like folks on the left are using this for political gain.
Yeah, absolutely. You've called for a new legislation. You've introduced it, actually. It's called the Save Democracy Act. What are some of the key pieces in this that you think are going to restore Americans' trust in our voting systems? Because that's what a lot of people right now seem unsure of.
Well, I mean, first off, we need to have confidence. There's 70+ million people who voted the other way. And, you know, we all need to have confidence in our election system. Our government is the gold standard around the world. Our election system should be the gold standard. And so whether it's getting the ballots to the voters or counting the ballots and all the procedures, whether it's a national database of voters and identification or signature verification, all of these things, you know, we want to make sure that the states have the rights and continue to run their elections. But there should be a baseline that I think we can thread that needle and still let them have those rights to run their own elections. But we can raise that confidence level to exactly where it needs to be, which is the gold standard.
Can you give me any specifics on the bill?
Yeah, I mean, it goes into getting the ballots to the voters. It goes into how the ballots are filled out and how they're verified, and then actually how they're counted. And so those three steps, I mean, the Republican Study Committee has done a lot of work, and I give them a lot of credit, Congressman Jim Banks, for introducing this and having a tremendous amount of co-sponsors so that the hard work can now happen at that state level so that we can give them the tools and make sure that they have the ability to do that hard work and raise that confidence level to a point where our entire country knows that these are legitimate results.
Okay. All right. Well, you're getting to work fast, being the freshman congressman. Sir, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, the president has 36 hours left in office. Democrats still want to put him on trial, but no president has ever gone to a Senate trial after leaving office. Could President Trump be the first? And what are the chances he could never run again? Our next guest has a lot of answers for us. Stay tuned.
remembering Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Call 1-800-SANDALS.
This was my first time using telemedicine, and I'd recommend this process to anyone. The total experience was amazing. I couldn't be happier with the product.
At RexMD.com, we've made the process fast, easy, and affordable. Visit RexMD.com right now.
I know what it's like to have back pain. When I found Inversion, it changed my life forever, and I believe it can change yours. I'm proud to introduce the most effective, the most comfortable teeter inversion table ever, the Teeter Fit Spine. When you invert, your back and spine elongate. With the pressure off, your back muscles relax, the spine realigns, discs rejuvenate, and nerve roots are relieved of painful pinching.
Been online working for 34 years now, and my back was pretty bad. Now I got on the teeter, and I felt it like just alleviating, just stretching. Now I can go out, I can go play basketball, go walking with the kids. I'm a new person. My back feels the best it's ever felt.
FDA registered as a Class 1 medical device, teeter inversion tables are indicated for temporary relief of back pain, muscle tension, degenerative disc disease, spinal degenerative joint disease, spinal stenosis, herniated disc, spinal curvature due to tight muscles, sciatica, muscle spasm, and facet syndrome.
Biggest difference the teeter table has made in my life is that I have physical freedom. It helped me so much, you have no idea. I'm not worried that I'm going to be limited by my back pain.
The teeter is easy to use. Simply set it, lock in, recline, and relax. Some other brands rely on gimmicks like padded beds. Your body sinks into the foam, stopping the decompressive stretch needed to achieve pain-relieving results. The Fit Spine features Flex technology, a patented bed that enhances decompression for a better stretch and better results.
Over 3 million people have put their trust in Teeter to feel better, move better, and live better. I'm in my 80s, and I feel great.
We're making it easier than ever to try the teeter in your own home with 0 down and 0% interest only at tryteeter.com. Experience the life-changing benefits for yourself. If you don't love it, just send it back with our 60-day return guarantee. Go to tryteeter.com to start your journey to back pain relief today.
If we convict him, we can then, by only 51 votes, remove him from ever running for office again.
All right, Senator Chuck Schumer there, soon to be the Senate Majority Leader, acknowledging on 60 Minutes his reason for impeaching President Trump with just days left in his term. Now 36 hours left. It's all to stop him from ever running again, so he doesn't have a chance to take 2024. While that comes as no surprise, there are more questions surrounding this politically motivated attempt to convict the president. And joining us now with that is Amir Benno. He is an appellate and constitutional law attorney. Amir, good to see you. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said in a statement this week, or last week, I should say, that even if the Senate process were to begin this week, no final verdict would be reached until after the president left office. So what does that mean? Will the president actually be tried here?
My prediction on this, Robin, it's good to be here, is that there will not be a trial. Regardless of what Chuck Schumer says, what he's saying about disqualifying President Trump from running in 2024 is, I suspect, just a pretext. What the Democrats really want to do, of course, is to paint Donald Trump as, to contaminate him with the stain of impeachment, an impeachment that he has no opportunity to ever vindicate himself and redeem himself in the court of public opinion, and to drive Republican members of Congress and the Senate over to the Democrats' fold so that they have more members to be able to accomplish their progressive agenda. Because they have a razor-thin majority. The reason why I say that that's what their objective is because the Constitution is pretty clear that you cannot actually try a private citizen on an impeachment. You can't impeach a private citizen. So I suspect what the Senate is going to do is hold a vote at some point after Nancy Pelosi transmits that article of impeachment to that upper chamber. They're going to have to hold a vote as to whether they actually have jurisdiction to conduct the trial.
Gotcha.
And for different reasons, I think that the Democrats in the Senate will come together and there will be a majority of senators who agree that there is not jurisdiction to do so.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it is that I think they don't really want to break up with Donald Trump as much as they hate him. I think he's good for their politics. You know, I think he motivates their base.
Well, that's true. I mean, the Democrats want to split the party. And if they can split the party, then they accomplish quite a bit. I mean, you've seen with the Democrats that they're going to try institutionally to change certain things, whether it's packing the court, whether it's eliminating the filibuster, or things of that nature, or trying to DC statehood to make a permanent majority in the Senate of Democrats. Right. But they're also trying to divide the Republican Party, the pro-Trump and the anti-Trump groups. And if they can't unite, if they can't solidify, then the Democrats really can hold sway and have the upper hand. So I think that that's really their ultimate objective.
Yeah. Pelosi still hasn't brought that article of impeachment over to the Senate, though. What do you think the reason is?
Well, like I said, I think it's political in nature. I think they want to carry this. I mean, she'll say, look, I want to be able to allow Joe Biden to focus on his first 100 days. I want his cabinet secretaries to get confirmed. I don't want the business of the Senate to be occupied by impeachment. But in reality, what it is just holding this sort of Damocles sword above Donald Trump in the Republican Party, painting him as some sort of traitor, so that the Republicans will flee from Donald Trump and into the open embrace of the Democrats as they try to push ahead with a socialist agenda.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is if we get to the law on this, the text of the Constitution is very clear that you have to be the president at the time that you are tried for an impeachment. It does not apply to an ex-president. And when we get to the intention of the framers of the Constitution, it's very clear at the time that they drafted the impeachment provision that they chose specifically not to allow former presidents or people who are no longer in office to be impeached. There actually were several states that had in their state constitutions provisions that allowed late impeachments. And the framers of the federal Constitution chose not to adopt that formulation. And James Madison, in discussing this at that time in Federalist 39, specifically said that impeachment of the president is something that would happen while the president continued in office. So there's very strong legal arguments against this being any sort of trial taking place as being legal.
Okay, and just to clarify, and in 2 seconds, just tell me, what do you think the chances are that the president can run again in 2024?
So I think he can. I mean, even if he were to be tried and even if he were to be convicted and removed, I mean, he can't be removed. He's already removed. He's
already out,
But the disqualification clause of the impeachment provision applies to officers. And under the Constitution, officers apply to appointed officers, judges, diplomats, those kind of officials, not to elected officials like the President of the United States.
Understood.
So that would not even apply to Donald Trump were he to seek the nomination in 2024.
Interesting perspective here. Always good to talk to the constitutional attorneys. Amir, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rob.
All right. Coming up, the left's attacks on free speech becoming even more ironic. Now they're targeting a documentary that aims to educate Americans on the very subject of free speech. Take a look.
Anything you say will be used against you.
There's no free speech for fascists.
Your posts on Facebook, Twitter, and social media will be saved to shame you.
All right, some chilling words from No Safe Spaces. The film has now been shunned by Netflix and Walmart. We're going to speak to Adam Carolla coming up after the break. Stay tuned.
Remembering Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
But I hit NewsMax first in the morning.
Oh, great.
First in the morning. Fastest rundown of the news.
Important people go to NewsMax. Watch NewsMax TV. Plus, get breaking news from NewsMax.com. We're real news for real people.
When I was younger, my hair made me feel really beautiful. When my hair started to thin, it really made me feel old.
I first noticed hair loss after giving birth to my first daughter. It was really coming out pretty dramatically. I was feeling pretty hopeless, and then I decided to do something about it.
I went to my hairdresser and he told me about Viviscal. Once I started taking Viviscal, my hair is full, it's rich again. I love the way it feels. It's wonderful.
Reclaim the hair that makes you fully you. Viviscal is the clinically proven #1 selling hair growth supplement that has worked for millions of women of every age and hair type.
I was really surprised by the results. My hair has never grown this fast before, so I was thrilled.
I felt a really big sense of relief when my hair was coming back. It was like, okay, I'm gonna look like myself.
The secret is Aminomar, a proprietary collagen complex that nourishes hair follicles and promotes the growth and thickness of existing hair. In a study among women, 92% reported an increase in hair volume and 94% experienced thicker hair.
For my patients with hair loss, Viviscal is drug-free. It's a supplement that's easy to take, and it works.
Viviscal has made me embrace, appreciate, and love my natural hair.
I'm back to feeling more vibrant, more youthful. More hair is awesome.
Order now and we'll send you a full 3-month supply of Viviscal, and you'll only pay $39.99 to get started, and shipping is free. Plus, you'll get a complete nourishing healthy hair kit, including a full-size leave-in elixir, which 9 out of 10 women said their hair appeared thicker and fuller in just 1 week. All this, an $80 value, free. If you don't absolutely love your results, just send back what you don't use and keep all these gifts just for trying Viviscal. You can find Viviscal at retailers everywhere, but this special TV offer is only available by calling the number on your screen or going to tryviviscal.com.
Hey, I'm Nick. We created Gabby because most people overpay for car insurance. Gabby is a free tool that saves you money by finding the best deal. Gabby saves users over $800 a year on average. Go to Gabby.com and stop overpaying for car insurance.
Attention, the weed killer Roundup has been linked to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
The manufacturer of Roundup has set aside over $10 billion for victims of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
If you are diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma after using the popular weed killer Roundup, call us right now. You may be entitled to substantial compensation.
Call now. Find out if you may qualify in under 2 minutes.
Call 1-800-450-8686. That's 1-800-450-8686.
You should be able to share ideas without fear of being fired from your job or shouted down.
You are not to be heard. This is one of the few things one could say we have no precedent for in the United States.
All right, you saw it there. That was comedian and podcast king Adam Carolla and radio talk show host Dennis Prager in the documentary called No Safe Spaces. It's a film that documents the left's assault on free speech, and it couldn't be much more significant than it is right now. The irony is that this free speech film is now being canceled from distributors like Netflix and Walmart. Can you believe it? Adam Carolla joins us now. Adam, great to see you. Thanks for coming on. Also the author of I'm Your Emotional Support Animal, Navigating Our All-Woke, No-Joke Culture. Wanted to throw that in as well. Tell us about the movie and tell us why it's being canceled.
Well, it's funny. We made the movie and then it came to fruition. We made the movie because cancel culture was something that been around for a while, but it sort of kicked into high gear when Trump got into office. And so we thought it'd be a good idea to address the subject. And then lo and behold, irony of ironies, the movie is being canceled from the cancel culture, which is what we made the movie about.
I mean, you can't make it up. It's funny. I guess it makes sense. It would be a funny situation. Do they give you excuse? Does Netflix, Walmart, what do they say when you ask them?
Nobody ever says anything. I've made a bunch of movies. Well, first off, what could they say? I've made a whole bunch of documentaries that are into the 90 percentile on Rotten Tomatoes. They've never been accepted to Sundance. They don't get accepted to Tribeca. All the big movie showcases, all the film festivals, we're persona non grata there too, as well. They're all run by the left. They're all extremists, and they have no tolerance for any other views but their own views, which is ironic because they're the same people that never stop bloviating about McCarthyism, yet they're more than happy to practice McCarthyism if somebody shows up with an opinion they disagree with.
It is unbelievable to watch, and you are right. It's gotten so much worse here in just the last few years. Is there anything even remotely scary in your film, or anything that should worry anybody that would warrant this?
No, it's not even a right-wing type film. It's not even really a conservative film. There's plenty of voices, from Van Jones to Alan Dershowitz. There's plenty of voices that are liberal. There's plenty of voices that are progressive. There are plenty of voices from the left. And yet, just the fact that someone would make a movie about this subject, which is, it's insane that, I mean, if you live long enough, you'll see it all. But the people that never stop talking about free speech are the ones who want to shut down free speech.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they don't want to hear the other side. They're threatened by the other side. I see it as a huge sign of weakness. If you can't have a conversation, if you have to shut people down before they can talk, you're just very, very weak, and you're not very confident in your side. That's how I take it. I take it as you just lack confidence in your position.
Well, imagine if any high school speech and debate team started every speech and debate tournament by announcing the other side were racist. You'd go, well, that guy sucks at debating.
Yeah, right. And he can't possibly win now because he's already a racist. That's a good point. I want to bring this in because we actually commiserate with you here at NewsMax. You know, we've had CNN calling for us to be censored now. They want us to be shut off from the broadcasters and taken off the air. What are your thoughts on that?
It is insane to me that so-called news organizations want to get rid of other news organizations. I mean, I get it. They don't like competition. I wouldn't either if I was CNN. But the notion that with a straight face, as a news organization, you want more censorship. You want Twitter to not publish the Hunter Biden laptop story. You want other news organizations canceled out. That's insane and so hypocritical. And I don't get why no one raises their hand over there and goes, you have to understand what we sound like when we say this.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what's better than free speech is absolute power. I mean, that's what they're realizing is that, you know, if I can get my way all the time, I don't really care what you have to say, right? Because what you have to say is racist. One last thing I want to say, as this cancer, I think of it, of wokeness continues to spread. You're a comedian. You know, I look back, I watch all these old shows. I still watch, you know, Entourage. I still watch some 2.5 Men reruns. And I say, these shows couldn't be made today. They just couldn't be made today. What's going to happen? What's going to happen to things being funny in this country?
Well, the sad part, especially living in California with the lockdown, you know, all the comedians are either in New York or LA, and they've all been silent on all the lockdown, the overreach from the government. We have the worst governor in the United States, Gavin Newsom. He's locked this entire city down, state down. Kids aren't going to schools. People are languishing at home, and the comedians have not said jack squat about it. They're so busy pushing back against the man. They think Trump's the man. Trump's not the man. No. If you live in Los Angeles, it's Garcetti and Newsom. It's the mayor. It's the governor. They're the man. And the comedians, their silence is deafening.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Because they're scared. They're scared. They're all scared.
They are. Although I did say last week, and I think it is going to come to fruition, watch how fast everything opens up now that they got Trump out of the way, and they're going to want Biden's economy to sail. And watch how clear this becomes political. Adam Carolla, thanks so much for coming on. Always been a fan. Great to talk with you.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. All right. Coming up, news from the left. It's getting a little vicious out there. We told you about those who want to cancel us here at NewsMax. We certainly hope it doesn't happen. But believe it or not, there are a few brave souls who are on our side. It may seem unbelievable, but it's true. You're going to meet a few when we come back.
Are you tired of weight loss plans that don't deliver? Well, good news. Nutrisystem delivers results and your favorite foods made healthier right to your door.
Nutrisystem makes life easier so I can focus on what matters most. Nutrisystem works.
Lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months. Lose weight fast, money back guaranteed.
You'll see results your first week.
The food tastes great.
I lost 30 pounds. I can't even tell you how good that feels.
Order right now. Get 50% off a month of meals and 50% off a month of shakes with probiotics to help support your immune system.
Lose weight and learn how to keep it off.
Act now and get 50% off a month of meals and shakes delivered right to your door.
It's a proven weight loss plan that delivers results. Start Nutrisystem right now.
Go online or call 888-424-FIT3 to save 50% on a month of meals and 50% on a month of shakes.
Hi, I'm Caleb, and this is my story. I was born with osteogenesis imperfecta, or brittle bone disease. I have broken my bones almost 200 times, and I have had 11 surgeries. But I didn't let that stop me. I love to bike ride, climb, race, and I'm learning how to stand and walk. But I can only do all of this because of generous people like you and Shriners Hospitals for Children.
Because of people like you, Shriners Hospitals for Children has helped more than 1.3 million kids just like me, regardless of their family's ability to pay.
Shriners Hospitals for Children is only able to provide this world-class, life-changing medical care because of the generous gifts of people just like you.
Because of you, I can ride my bike. I can play basketball.
Because of people like you, I can run.
I can smile.
Will you send your love to the rescue today?
When you go to loveshriners.org right now and give just 63 cents a day, you're helping kids just like me.
Like me. Like me.
When you give today, we'll send you this adorable Love to the Rescue blanket as a thank you and a reminder of the love you gave to a kid just like me.
Your gift, no matter how small, can help a child today.
This is your moment to make a difference.
When you pick up your phone, you know you have it right there. And call to give. You're helping kids like me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Please call or go online now. If operators are busy, please call again or give right away at loveshriners.org.
Your gift makes a difference. Thank you for giving.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. I guarantee you they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
I do not like my sheets. I love my Giza Dream sheets.
Call or go to MyPillow.com right now to take advantage of Mike's limited time offer. Use the promo code on the screen, and when you buy one set of Giza Dream Sheets, Mike will send you another set absolutely free. That's right, buy one set of Giza Dream Sheets and get another set absolutely free. Choose from a variety of colors in solid, stripes, and new flannel sheets. Order now.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Welcome back. Time for the news from the left. Do you remember when Donald Trump wanted to end Section 230 protections for big tech and all the leftists were outraged? Well, over the last few days, it's suddenly become fashionable to hate big tech on the left for allowing Donald Trump and the Republicans to, quote, sow the insurrection. Well, Mika Brzezinski over at Morning Joe is a former huge Trump fangirl turned Trump hater. She and her hubby Joe did more to get Trump elected than almost anybody in the media. During the primaries, the two gushed over Donald Trump, had him on the show constantly. Well, Mika flipping again on this subject, now outraged with Facebook for not silencing Trump sooner.
Yeah. Facebook is pathetic.
They're
Sheryl
shameful.
Sandberg, Mark Zuckerberg, you guys are pathetic. You make absolutely no reason about your actions. You could have done this a long time ago. You decided to do it now. I wonder who's going to be president now. Maybe this will make him happy. No, you've just shown him why you need to be shut down. You need to be shut down.
Mika mad. So maybe now Trump and the libs agree on ending Section 230 for entirely different reasons. Who knows? Maybe Mika and Trump can rekindle that old friendship they had before 2016 with this new common goal. Don't count on it, but you never know. You want to see people get along, right? All right, moving on to our daily example of leftists pushing for our government to start behaving like China's. This Daily Beast article was published this morning. Take a look at the headline. Can U.S. spy agencies stop white terror? We now, by the way, have a plague of white terror in this country. It's everywhere, and it's going to kill us all. Now the left wants spies to root out those pesky conservatives out there, which is pretty much all of us at this point. Maybe they want to round us up for the re-education camps like they do with the Uyghur Muslims in Western China. The mileage that the left is going to get out of the Capitol riot 2 weeks ago is astounding. That's the worst part of all of this. They're going to ride this story as long as they can. We're going to be talking about this forever. The people that went into the Capitol building gave the left the greatest gift imaginable. He's okay. White supremacy is now the single greatest threat to our country. And if you voted Trump, as Don Lemon told you just last week, you are now racist. There are those unicorn liberals, though, that we find them from time to time, the ones that don't think Republicans actually crawled out of hell. And Bill Maher, believe it or not, is one of them. You might not like Bill Maher. He hates Donald Trump, but he's got more common sense than almost any liberal I've ever met. Take a listen.
But there's a difference between holding illiberal beliefs and acting violently on them. At least that's what they always told me about Islamic terrorism. I've preached, and still do, that you can hate Trump, but not all the people who like him. And as counterintuitive as it may seem, you can like something run by without being one yourself.
I kind of like Bill Maher. You might hate me for it. I kind of do. There's something about him. There was once a time when a Democrat and a Republican could have a meal and talk some trash and still leave as friends. I can still do it. I live in New York City. There's liberals all around me. I talk to them all the time. Bill Maher is one of those people too. Maybe someday he'll come on this show. We can hash it out. Wouldn't that be funny? All right, finally, with 2 days left, CNN may be sweating the end of the Trump presidency. They are really crushing the ratings lately. They're beating Fox pretty badly. But what happens when they lose their muse? Here's Jim Acosta today landing one of his final Trump body slams.
This city clearly on edge. The country, in fact, is on edge. The coronavirus pandemic is at its worst right now. It's worse than it's been, yet there's absolutely no sign of the president of the United States.
Oh, that's right, Wolf. Donald Trump remains in hiding less than 2 days before he leaves office in disgrace as a twice impeached president. Trump has not appeared in front of the press in 6 days as he meets with advisors behind closed doors, plotting his last-minute pardons and a departure ceremony that polls show many Americans are hoping will be a one-way ticket out of Washington with no return.
The activist White House correspondent. We're going to miss Jim when he disappears onto CNN's weekend show. He was always good for a laugh. That'll do it. That's the news from the left. All right, school children are taught all about the dream of Martin Luther King. As we honor his memory on this holiday, maybe some adults need to be reminded of it too. Sadly, there are some on the left who think that those on the right had no right to celebrate or honor Dr. King. That's how ridiculous it's getting. We're going to tell you why that is and show you what his daughter has to say about all of this nonsense. It's coming up after the break.
I don't want to look like this anymore.
What is happening to my body?
Why can't I lose weight?
You may be suffering from insulin resistance. Measure your waist. Females measuring more than 35 inches and males measuring more than 40 inches may have insulin resistance. To learn how to reverse insulin resistance and lose weight effectively, go online to golo.com. Once again, that's golo.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. For a limited time, you can get premium MyPillows for the lowest price ever. Regularly $69.98, now only $29.98 with your promo code. That's a $40 savings. 15 years ago, I invented MyPillow. I made sure that you could adjust my patented fill so that you could have the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of your sleep position. I also wanted a pillow that stays healthy, so I made MyPillow machine washable and dryable. I back MyPillow with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. Not only that, I do all my own manufacturing in my home state of Minnesota. I personally guarantee that MyPillow will be the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own.
For a limited time, you can get a premium MyPillow for the lowest price ever. Regularly $69.98, now only $29.98. That's a $40 savings with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
I
can't stop worrying.
Why can't I sleep at night?
How do I deal with all this stress?
When did the world get so scary?
Hello, this is Michael Youssef. There can be no doubt that our world is filled with troubles right now. And yet, there is one person who said, I can give you peace that can never be shaken, even in the worst of your circumstances. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the only giver of eternal life. And he's inviting you to come and surrender to him. And he will give you unbelievable peace, a peace that seems too good to be true, but it's true. Will you come to him?
Are you looking for a peace that can withstand any hardship life can bring? Visit findingtruepeace.com to find answers. Again, that's findingtruepeace.com.
Don't waste your time and money at the chain store. They got the best auto parts, brake parts, suspension parts, and dealer parts too. The website's so easy to use. The lowest prices and fast delivery too. All the parts your car will ever need. All the savvy folks are buying parts at rockauto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com.
There's the guy who said his trade-in was in perfect condition.
Well, what do you think?
Well, let's see here. It looks pretty nice on the outside. Oh, got a teeny tiny scratch right there, and whoa, game changer. You didn't tell me that you had WeatherTech floor liners?
Of course. I also have the cargo liner and seat protector.
I mean, the carpet looks brand new.
So what do you think of my trade-in now?
It just went up, way up.
Thought so.
Protect your investment. Order your American-made products at WeatherTech.com.
Life in America isn't what it used to be. What the liberal Democrats have planned for this country and your family would be devastating. At Mammoth Nation, we're committed to supporting conservative candidates. We also stand behind our police, military and veterans, the Second Amendment, and much more. In return for your patriotism, you get great discounts on things like hotels, shopping, wireless, and much more. Discover your Mammoth buying power today. Go to MammothNation.com and join now.
All right, welcome back. Time for a little perspective here at the end. We're, of course, nearing the end of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's a day when all of us pause to reflect on the life of this great civil rights leader. But if you listen to the screeching left, there are some who shouldn't be allowed to celebrate Dr. King's life or legacy. Take a listen.
I saw today, unbelievably, in my view, Ted Cruz, Kayleigh McEnany, Ronna McDaniel, Melania Trump, quoting Dr. King. How dare they try to quote Dr. King on the celebration of his birthday when they enabled a racist president causing this insurrection and attack on our democracy.
Of you. They don't really know what they're talking about, but they get to talk anyway. Forget for a minute the liberals are still pushing the idea that the ill-fated and illegal decision by some protesters to breach the Capitol was some sort of racial conspiracy. Forget their absolute hatred of President Trump, who presided over, of course, record low African-American unemployment numbers, who reenacted criminal justice reform, did the black opportunity zones. Forget their fake calls for unity. This quest for vengeance is an absolute rejection of everything that Martin Luther King Jr. stood for. It was he who preached racial unity. It was he who talked about a day where a man couldn't be judged by the color of his skin. And that is exactly what the left is doing right now, judging everybody by the color of their skin. That's all they're about. Dr. King's youngest daughter, Bernice King, just 5 years old when her dad was assassinated, called for such unity today before it is too late.
We still have a choice today, he went on to say, nonviolent coexistence or violent co-annihilation. This may well be mankind's last chance to choose between chaos or community.
Well said. We here at NewsMax salute Dr. King and his message. May it ring out loudly today and into the early days of a new administration that, at least at its outset, appears to be spoiling for a fight and making everything about race. That's not what it's supposed to be. That's all we have for tonight. Thanks so much for watching us. We'll be back tomorrow. See you later.
Remembering Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Okay, so we didn't hear, Trump didn't come on, so, oh, where's my, hold on. Let's see. Let's see here. Where'd the thingy go? All right, so this is what I ended up getting. So it says tonight President Trump is going to address the nation at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. This is not a rally speech. This is an address to the nation where he's going to give and lay out all evidence. Everyone needs to tune in to his speech. Make sure you are alert, friends and family. If there was ever a speech you need to listen to, it's this one tonight. Be sure not to watch this on mainstream media. Watch it on NewsMax and other stuff. So this very well could have been maybe somebody on the left. Who knows? Messing with us or whatever, but we checked it out. And I really enjoy watching Newsmax anyways. So who knows? We'll see what happens in the next few days. We're really going to be seeing something, or we're going to see a whole lot of just nothing. And that's what I'm kind of afraid of. So, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Oh boy. Yeah, it does say it does say tonight at 8 p.m. and then it does say he's going to address the nation at 9 p.m. So there's two different times on here. So I'm thinking this is kind of goofed. I'm not sure. But we did our duty and we checked it out. Anywho, we have to remember that the left is going to be putting out false information as well. So we'll see. I know she just was talking to him. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on. But I'm going to sign off of here. I am putting together another video to follow up the video that I just put out not too long ago. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. And I will catch you on the next live. So I'm going to hang out here for a little bit and see what's going on, see what kind of information I can dig up, and I hope you guys have a good evening. All right. Goodbye. God bless.